her and also from our representative from the Department of Education, who came out in, I think it was October or November, to kind of tell us what to expect and to help us prepare for this. So it was an eye-opener for all of us. Not that we were doing things wrong, but just the level of documentation and detail and the expectations of the department now are much more stringent than they ever used to be. And so I asked Dr. Daniels to give us a little summary of the outcome of that on-site review. They spent 2 days with us. I think it was February 2nd and February 3rd.
They were here.
First and second?
First, and then they were back.
And,
But they were able to finish it. They were able to complete it the
the first
one in
day.
1 day.
okay.
It was
And
the
then they were back
financial-
for the financial.
And they came back for
fiscal audit.
financial audit after
Right.
that. That's right.
As Carl said, the Michigan Department of Education performs what is called on-site reviews. And they have been charged by the federal government to ensure that they get an on-site review to every one of the districts in the state within a 5-year period. So we just had our turn as a part of it. Usually on-site reviews happen once every 3 years. Sometimes it's where they actually come out, you know, and sit with you and go through all of your materials. Sometimes it's a desk audit where they just ask you to send in materials and different reports, and they take a look at that. So ours was held on February 1st, and my joke was I felt that everybody probably got to know more about Title I than they ever wanted to know by the time we were finished, but it was extremely eye-opening, and a lot of very good things came out of it. So just to kind of to give you a summary and highlights of what the findings were. They monitored general school improvement. They monitored oversight, you know, our oversight of the programs, the Title I program, the Title II-A program, and the 31A program. Some of the things that were noted special about that they felt merited special comments. We had more procedures and processes in place than many districts that they go to. What they also found, we need to do some fine tuning of it, but we're well on our way. The communication that they found between our central office administration and our buildings was exemplary, because they said they rarely see where central office even talks to the buildings. So that was something that we had done, you know, very well. Other things, they really liked what was on our website. They felt that it was extremely clear what our goals and objectives were, and those were some of the things that they checked for as a part of school improvement. Some of those things that we had been talking about earlier on from the fiscal audit, the payroll certifications, they were all in place. So when the state got here, all of that was in order. So they were really pleased about that. Our reports were timely. They were able to see, we had good records of the materials that we said we had ordered. They could find them. They were labeled. So they were really pleased with that. A couple of things that they did want us to take a look at for improvement. With our parent involvement, there's a section in our district policy. We had all of the components there, except we need to put in a procedure and a process to ensure parent involvement. You know, we had a lot of things, but the whole move is to get the procedures and procedures and practices in place. Because one of the things that they say is, if someone leaves and someone new comes in, you need to have something that they can go to and be able to know this is how to get started, even if you don't know every little fine-tuned point. And one of the things that was really great, Romulus has been doing a lot of really good things. We just hadn't documented it. So documentation was another thing to make sure that, you know, we have sign-in sheets for meetings and minutes and those kinds of things. So that was another one of the things. Another was we have a group home that we provide financial oversight, fiscal oversight for. And they just wanted us to make sure that we had some procedures and things in place, you know, for that. In our Title I or Title II, Part A, we had no changes required. No district level requirement changes in Title I. Minor changes at the building levels, and it primarily had to do with putting more detail in the school improvement plans. And then finally, Section 31A is new to the district, so they were just wanting to make sure that we put again in the procedures and in place to make sure that the compliance oversight would be present. And they were, you know, they were very pleased, and the things that, you know, we have to, you know, prepare were relatively minor. So it's just making sure that we go back and cross some more T's and dot some more I's.
Thank you, Dr. Daniels. Mr. McLaughlin?
Thank you. Paula,
Yes.
and I apologize if I just didn't hear you clearly, and
Okay.
I sympathize with your, about the third or fourth item from the end, it sounded like you said, there's a group home we have fiscal oversight for.
Yes, yes. I guess some years ago, the Department of Ed asked that Romulus be the fiscal manager for a group home, and that just means that the funds are funneled through us to them.
And I assume we're charging for that service?
Well,
It's part of their budget, so they're allotted by the state so much for this home. We provide the fiscal oversight, so when they spend money, they have to create a purchase order, just as if any other purchase was made through the district.
and up to 10%
Can be
we
used for
capture.
indirect.
I'll call you tomorrow and set up an appointment. I'd like to review the records for that, please.
What type, just out of curiosity, so I'm prepared, what kind of records?
Well, I'd like to see the what's budgeted, or, you know, what's part of
It-
this.
Okay, it comes
this
directly
funding
from the
and what
state.
gets charged against it, because I'll be honest, I have never heard of a school district being a fiscal agent for a group home.
Well,
I'm not saying it's out of
Let's be clear,
line,
the
but,
group home services high school students.
uh-huh.
Okay,
And,
just want to make sure that,
and
But they
there,
have state agencies that can do that.
there's a vendor, but to get the Title I, they have to go through a
Right.
school district.
And this was, the group home was the part of Romulus that
yes.
went
Red-
to Wayne Westland,
It's in
with
that area.
Proposal A, the Rudgate area. And that's kind of one of the reasons that.
It's more or less just to educate myself, so I'm aware of, you know, what's going on, but if we have any expenses that aren't covered in there, they go to the curb.
Oh, no, no
It's-
expensive, oh, no.
No.
No, we would have it there too.
Madam Chair, I do have a
Yes,
question.
Ms.
Do
Buckley.
we have a time frame that we have to comply with to collect the findings that they have?
We have to send in a report of our plan by March the 29th, but then we have a year to make the corrections.
Okay, thank you.
So what that process is, in a year, they'll send us a form, and we'll fill in, you know, what we've done, and if there are any documents that need, you know, we'll send in copies of the documents and things like that, and that's what the follow-up generally is like.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. Thank you again, Dr. Daniels. Okay, next item, item E. We talked about this in our study session on the 13th. Approval of E-rate network electronics for purchases. And this would, if we carry out these purchases, this would impact the 13-14 school year? We need
Are we
a
asking
motion.
a question?
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
Okay, I need a motion, please.
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education authorize the superintendent to enter into mutually agreed contracts with Secant Technologies Network Electronics and VoIP and Wireless. That's it. Thank you.
Was that, oh, okay, moved by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mr. McLaughlin. Are there any questions?
question.
Mr. McLaughlin?
Thank you. I know this was discussed at the last meeting. There's still a stopgap when we form a budget. If we don't budget for this, or this isn't locking us into spending the cash, this is us saying we want to apply. Thank you. And just for Cheryl, people, vote.
I want to hear for discussions, I want to
G to G? Good.
Any other
Yeah.
questions or? Okay, I have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
All right, item F, the last item on my report. You have in your packet weekly newsletters and updates from Barth, from WIC. You also have the latest, greatest Wingspan, the February edition. Also the Chartwell's recent newsletter, and a thank you from Building Principal Shavonna Johnson. And that concludes my report this evening, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Next, we are at communications and expressions from the public. I don't have anything in front of me. Next on our agenda is questions and/or concerns of board members. Anybody want to jump right in?
I thought you were gonna go in.
No, you can go. You're always the longest one, so we'll let you go first.
Yeah, okay.
Start off with you.
Our bowling team, the high school bowling team, did very well, I believe Saturday. They're going to the state championships this Friday. I got a parent email saying that they had asked for a and this is third party, I'm not saying it's credible, that they asked the high school for a bus and was told no. The reason I bring this up is because when other athletic teams have made states, we've made accommodations for them. This is in Waterford. I understand it's very likely in the school day, and we may have a transportation issue because we're transporting, 3,000 other children. But if somebody can
I'll do that.
see if the bowling coach is made aware that if we have something that we can do for them, we can. I think most of the parents are probably capable of driving their own kids. The question that got raised to me is there's a couple that may not, and the liability issue if they're transporting other children, so.
I doubt that if it would have come
Yeah,
over here that,
No, I'm not aware of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
So we'll look
exactly,
into it.
but I promised them I'd bring it up tonight.
We'll look into it.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, most of my colleagues here on the board heard me before the meeting. The reason I voted no on the consent agenda is at our last meeting, we had discussed, and there was supposed to be an agenda packet ready before the board meeting, and it was supposed to be posted on the website. Non-confidential information was supposed to be posted. It was not, and until that happens, I will continue to vote no on consent agenda items. Thank you.
Was that it?
That's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody?
Madam Chair,
Mrs. Buckley?
I just wanted to say our girls' basketball team is playing in district tonight. They should be playing around 7, and we won Friday, so I think that made us league champs or something to that effect. So, go Eagles! Go Lady Eagles! 7 o'clock.
Anyone else?
Is it televised? Oh, our games,
Thanks.
they're taped.
Comcast cable.
The high school.
The high school, I don't think we're on. I'm not sure. I know sometimes they just take portions of it and show it in highlights, but I don't think I don't know.
It's Comcast, is it?
Yeah. So the answer to that is I don't know. To be clear, I do not.
If you know somebody who can hook us up.
I think Channel 900 on Comcast does some high school stuff.
Okay, anyone else?
Band concert is Thursday night.
Anybody else? Okay.